Good morning, grade 9s, and welcome to lesson number 6, our first lesson of the week. And we're going to be starting with the concept of pH value. So we've all heard about acids and bases. Acids are acidic. You can feel, it's almost like that feeling you get at the back of here, in the back of your throat when you eat sour worms. And bases are your soaps. They're like, you can always, like, basic. Think of soap. It's a basic color, it's a basic shape, it does a basic thing like clean, and it's a base. So acids and bases are all around us. So example of household acids like vinegar and household bases like bleach are in your textbook. So if a base can dissolve in water, we call it an alkali. And very strong acids are called corrosive. They corrode what they've been put on. Very strong acids can be very dangerous. Some acids you're not even allowed to handle with your bare hands because it'll melt straight through and leave a hole, and you don't want that. So they are called corrosive because they corrode what they are put on. The pH scale. Now, our pH scale is from 0 actually to 14, but in this book and in our schooling years in high school, you work from 1 to 14 only. Now, the pH scale shows you if it is a acid or if it is a base. Number 7 in the pH scale, if it is number 7, it's actually neutral. It's neither an acid or a base, it's just neutral. So, the pH scale ranges from 0 to 14. Acids are from 0 to 7, and bases are from 7 to 14. See the overlap, 7 and 7 is your neutral. So as you can see, strong acids are towards your 1, 2, 3, like the 1. 1 would be your strongest acid, and like 6 would be your weakest acid, where 14 would be your strongest base, and 8 would be your weakest base. As you can see, the colors get darker outwardly, like that way. So there's some examples of acids and bases. So you'll get stuff like that, like what it is, and you'll have to say if it's an acid or base. And here they give you its pH. So if I give you a table like that, and it's got a pH 1 for hydrochloric acid, stomach acid, if I say that it's at a pH level of 1, what is it? So you're going to have to tell me, is it strong? Is it weak? Is it neutral? And you would say, no, it is very, very strong. It is a corrosive acid, like the word says in the first page. Chemical indicators. We use a chemical indicator to identify whether a chemical is an acid or a base. So it depends on what color it changes. If it changes one color, it is an acid. If it changes the other color, it is a base. And these will depend on the chemical indicator that you use. But now if we know, so we go and we get our bleach and we test it, and we now know that it is a base. We also want to know how strong or how weak a base it is. So these are our universal indicators. Chemical indicator shows us acid or base. Universal indicator shows us how weak or strong this acid or base is. So universal indicator colors. So as you can see on page 103, figure 9, the color changes of universal indicator for different pH values. So if you get a color that looks like one of these, you go to the table, you go, okay, it's 2, which means it's a very strong acid, or, oh, it's 8, it's a very weak base. And as you can see in the activity, you get little strips, you dip them in, and whatever color it becomes is the color you go and compare it to your table, or your colors. Universal indicators are all sorts, it also can be anything. It depends on what the experiment chooses to use. But remember, you dip it in, you see what color it is, and you go compare the color. Oh, it's 8, oh, it's this, and compared to where it is on the table, you can tell me if it's strong or weak. Because you should already know if it's an acid or a base. But technically, the universal indicator can do both. It can tell you if it's an acid or a base, because if it's a dark, dark, dark purple, it's in the base section, and it's a very strong base. pH meters. We use universal indicators to identify the pH of a substance, which is that whole table, if it's a base or an acid. But we can also use digital pH meters Digital pH meters measure the pH of a substance very quickly and accurately. That's the advanced world that we're in. They use a machine to do it, which is very handy, especially if you're working with it a lot, like in a lab. So that's that section done. It was very quick because we've heard about it a lot in life and we live with them all around us. I'm sure even in primary school, I know I did it. You even tasted acids and bases, which was either really nice, like an orange for acids, or gross, like soap for bases. But if you did that, try remember that. Go back to the basics and build from that. So we'll do reactions of acids and bases, acids with bases and metals, in our next lesson, and I'll send the activities with the video. So have an amazing day and work hard and hand in those activities. Thank you.